Hi, my name is Hannah, and this is my Project for Awesome video. If you don't know what the Project for Awesome is, you can look in the description for the link. I want to talk today about the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. It's an organization really close to my heart. In the US, there's a suicide death every 12.6 minutes. In the world, it's every 40 seconds. Every person who dies by suicide leaves behind loved ones, which means that every year in the US, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people are affected by suicide. This doesn't even include the hundreds of thousands of suicide attempts each year. My passion for this issue comes from a suicide loss of my own. On March 29, 2006, I lost my friend Malaya to suicide. We were 13 years old, and at the time it was a complete shock. I now know that 90% of people who die by suicide were suffering from a diagnosable mental health issue, although many of them are undiagnosed. Malaya certainly was, or at least her diagnosis wasn't known to me. For a while, I didn't know what to do with my grief. I just knew that I never wanted what happened to us, me and my friends, to happen to anyone else. And then, about a year after she died, I learned about the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention's Out of the Darkness Overnight Walk. The Overnight is an incredibly powerful event where thousands of people walk from dusk till dawn, 16 plus miles through whatever city the walk is happening in that year. The first year I did it, it happened to be in my hometown of New York City, and the following year it was as well. In 2011 it came back, and in 2013 I did it in Washington, D.C. I think the Overnight is a really incredible event for anyone who's been affected by suicide, and I started to become more and more interested in the organization that put this event on, the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Last fall, I got the opportunity to intern at the AFSP, and when I graduated college in May, they hired me full-time to work in their communications department. And I love working there. It's an incredible organization with incredible people who do such important work every day. We are the single largest funder of suicide prevention research in the U.S. We sponsor International Survivors of Suicide Loss Day, in which people who have lost someone to suicide come together all over the world to connect, grieve, and find strength. Our advocacy team works in D.C. on mental health parity and other federal policies, and trains people to advocate for legislation related to mental health and suicide prevention. We have advocates in all 50 states. We have many education programs that teach young people the risk factors and warning signs of suicide, and our interactive screening program allows at-risk people in universities and workplaces to connect with a counselor anonymously online. This past year, we hosted 350 community walks, which are shorter than the Overnight and in the daytime, in places all over the United States. And though I work in the national office, we have 67 chapters doing work on the local level. And I'm really proud that we have a 5-star rating on Charity Navigator. Link in the description. Of the 10 leading causes of death in the United States, suicide is the only one that is still on the rise. And AFSP has set the ambitious goal to reduce the rate of suicide 20% by the year 2025. For all of these reasons and more, I hope you will join with me in supporting the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention during this year's P4A. Thank you for watching, and DFTBA. P.S. If the Overnight Walk sounded interesting to you, it's in Dallas and Boston this year. Link in the description.